Hey guys, this is Tom Bucks. Welcome to MST.TV, and I heard you guys clicked on Drytrons. So today I'm gonna pluck apart one of my upcoming videos and specifically go into this particular video here, Drytrons. This is my Drytron profile, which I used to hit PLAT 1 in, well, really a couple hours, and surprisingly enough, it actually can be free to play if you do get a little bit lucky on your pulls, but I will also offer you guys a budget version of the deck that helped me climb before I even decide to actually just break everything apart to make the deck. So if you guys want to see this upcoming video as well, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and ding the notification bell so you guys can stay up to date. You know what? Let's jump into the Drytron full power first. Did I say Drytron? I mean beyond full power Drytron, because we never got to play a list like this in TCG where we have Maxi, we have Angel Ben 10, and Mubeta. And oh my god, Maxi in this deck is just ridiculously good because a lot of things that would have been dead hands get automatically fixed thanks to the magic of Maxi. Now, this is a non-budget variant, but still technically free to play as long as you're willing to dismantle every single ultra rare you get from your gens from solo play. Well, not all of them, like a lot of it from solo play and all of the starting gems that you get in the first week. That's how you do it. But if you don't want to do that, there's still another budget variant that I will quickly show once we cover this one. I even talk about the weaknesses of what people do at the top tier level. Looking at this one here, we start off with a pair of Evas, helping you search for the level 2 fairies, which is ultimately just the ultimateness fuel for infinite ammo, or rather just a 4 times ammo so that you can negate 4 cards. Like one card negating 4, it's just really unfair, because then in a simplified game state, of course, the bigger monster wins. But yeah, Eva is really good for also searching out the Diviner and also the Herald of Orange Light. And if you pair with the Herald of Orange Light, you kind of just get like 2 Herald of Orange Light as a double monster negate. And since in Yu-Gi-Oh these days most things are just once per turn, or hard once per turn, that's usually enough to stop the turn and bring it back to you. So in terms of Drytron lineup, you can quickly unlock the Drytron Alpha Thuban through Stalwart Force. You can get this as an 80 card set, unlock the Thuban, and then you can go into the Celestial Bear and Dragons, and from there you can unlock most of the rest of the Drytron monsters. Drytron Alpha, for the noob friendly content, I'm just going to say all of them cannot be normal summoned, and that's because they have a condition where if you do special summon out a Drytron monster for the entire turn, you're not allowed to special summon any normal summonable guys. You can still normal summon the normal summonable guys, but you can't special summon anything that can be normal summoned. Alright, so anyways, Alpha, tributing a Drytron or a ritual monster from hand or field, you get to add and summon Alpha, and you also get to add a Cyber Angel, but you can also add any ritual monster, which is why this is fantastic. Gamma is like a monster reborn, summon out another, just anything but Gamma from the graveyard, so it's a monster reborn. We have Zeta, which searches for the ritual spell. We have Delta, that gives you a draw 1 by revealing a ritual spell or ritual monster. You can even play more if you don't have all the ultra rares. You can play more Delta because of the triple Ben 10. The Alpha plus like Delta basically gets you to there. You can actually use any, you can even use Beta. That's the crazy part, because your Ben 10 searches are kind of going to pull through all the way. You're gonna, by the time you get your Zeta, you still have a Ben 10 in your hand, and Zeta Ben 10 is full combo regardless of what you do, and that's the whole point of, you know, the Alpha Zeta combo, is because you got Zeta into a Ben 10, and this is easier than ever. You can't really make a mistake on this. Now, in terms of some of the hand traps, we have Herald of the Orange Light to help us deal with the Maxis, help us deal with the Ash Blossoms, help us deal with draw, anything that's related to a monster-based reaction to you during the going first phase of you. Well, you can just negate it, and it's kind of like acting as additional Call by the Grave, but during your opponent's turn, now they're acting more like Ghost Ogres, and like it's just really good because it's such a flexible card, and it's also searchable through Ben 10. And if you're opening your hand with extra cards, the Ben 10 can help you fetch for the Orange Light early, making it very, very safe to play against anything that your opponent throws at you. Except that people are probably going to throw Maxis at you pretty commonly, so just expect that. Maxi. Now, Maxi, of course, everyone likes Maxi, but specifically for this deck, it helps you fuel for your Herald of Orange Light. That can be quite deadly against your opponent. And then also I'm playing like droplets, so that if I draw into a droplet, I can crack the board even if I don't like stop the combo from going through. So that's why the synergy is there. But surprisingly, even when you have a Herald of Ultimateness on the board and you use a Maxi, it doesn't feel like you have 4 negates anymore. It feels like you have as many negates as you'll ever need, and they are going to lose. It's really good. It's just ridiculous. Triple Diviner. Diviner helps you go into Beatrice because she changes her level based off of what you send, and you can send stuff from the extra deck. So you send the Herald of Arclight to search for your Ben 10, and then that leads to the next play, which is Beatrice. And also, if you have a problematic card on the field that you need to destroy, you can send the Entis, of course. So that's the lineup there. If you can't get Diviner, I might recommend crafting 1 just for the sake of being able to search it out with Eva. And the rest of it can just be Manjus. But you should at least play 1. I started off with 1, and then I just pulled 2 more out of the same pack. So that was a real godsend pack, and that's why this one's free to play for me. 1 Ash because you pick up the Ash. Well, this should have been one of the first packs you bought, which is from the bundle deal. And 1 Nib. 1 Nib because if you maxi into a Nib, it's just one of those feelings. And Nib, there's a lot of people that just combo, and they just don't expect you to actually run Nibiru anymore. In terms of like the ritual lineup, Natasha is just broken because Natasha is not once per turn. If you successfully ritual summon out Natasha once and you have a bunch of Ben 10s in grave, and this is something we can't really do in TCG, which is have that many Ben 10s, you can steal a full board and make two Link 4s. Ridiculous. And that should be an OTK, which is why I have Boral Sword and Axis Code, because I can make both. And I'm not making it with my own monsters, I'm making it with your monsters because I get to steal them permanently. That's why that's there. Here's my tip for you guys for playing Natasha. If you're gonna play Natasha and you're going second, don't bother with the Herald of Ultimateness. You're not cracking the board with this thing. You're not winning the game with this. You're just grinding. You don't need to grind when you can go for the kill shot, and that's Natasha. And Natasha, even if you reduce your monster's attack by 1,000, you can still use Meteor's Drytron because it's only 1,000. Because this is like the Drytron rituals are based off of attack points of machine monsters. Triple Ben 10, I don't need to explain this. This is ridiculous. This is actually on my list of problems currently in the Master Duel because this is really unfair. 1 E to 10 just to manage your resources, just in case you started off unable to get your full Ben 10 loop going. Then you can do the Stingy combo, which is the modern day TCG combo with Drytron. And once you get there, this will help you recycle your Meteor's Drytron ritual spell because you can only add it back once from the graveyard. 1 Herald of Ultimateness because it's the Omni negate of everything, including special summon. We have Triple Cyber Emergency because you can search for a light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, which is the entire Drytron lineup. This is your Rhoda of the deck. We have Double Nova. I only need a Double Nova, but luckily if you don't have your Ultra, you can add another Nova into your deck to fill for that slot because this is just your E-Telly, right? 1 Meteor's Drytron, you have to have this. If you don't craft this one, you will never be able to play this entire deck, so you just can't ritual summon, so there's no point. Double Call of the Grave, I recommend everyone to craft this as the first 2 card you craft, even before Maxi. And then triple Droplet because you'll want to be able to crack boards. As for the extra deck, this is like not the most ideal of extra deck. I probably would change one thing. But in terms of our lineup, we have 1 Entis, double Herald of Arclight, 1 Lyrolus Assembled Nightingale, just so that we can hopefully get into Zeus, 1 Mubeta. You can play with 1. I don't even have a second one yet, but this is completely fine as long as you're willing to do a Natasha push during the turn that it comes back to you. You have to play a Beatrice. If you don't play Beatrice, you can't get your board up at all. And 1 Zeus. I don't get why Zeus is limited, but it is. And Link Haribo, just so that you can put your monster back into the graveyard. 1 Phoenix for utility. 1 IP Masquerena. This Herald of Mirage Lights probably can be maybe a Downerd Magician, just so that we can get a double Zeus. Then we have Nightmare Unicorn. Unicorn. Boral Sword, you can probably get this also from Stalwart Force. That's I started with this, and that was enough to really take it home. Appaloosa, if you want to, is not necessary, and Access Code is also a little bit of an overkill, but this is my current lineup. This Herald is not necessary, but this is the one deck that I used to get all the way to Plat 1 in a couple hours, so why not? And in terms of the budget variant of this deck, it's fairly simple in terms of the changes, but we do cut down on a lot of the ultra rares, and In terms of all things that we changed, we have only just one EVA now because we don't have diviner searches, so why bother getting the extra EVA? But you can search for Herald of Purple just to deal with several of these Eldritch matchups, which they don't expect you to actually counter them. This is actually really good. And secondly, we also have to cut down on one of the Bentens. To me, this is actually still very generous. Coming from only playing one Benten, having a second Benten still is a world of difference, and it's still just worth playing in general. In fact, if you want to get Ben 10 searches a little bit easier, you can even play Preparation of Rites, because that's only a super rare and you can perhaps craft one out. You should still make the 3 Maxis. There's just no escaping it because it's just that good. I'd play 1 Diviner because I had the 1 Diviner early, and that's why the searches were great. And that's why I was able to play Beatrice. If you don't have a Diviner, Beatrice almost becomes impossible to play because it requires you to ritual summon out too many cards that you probably could have just tributed. In terms of the droplet replacement, I use Chalices because this is, of course, way cheaper. Against Drytron, it won't be as useful, personally speaking. But against like all the other decks, it's perhaps even more useful because you get to control the timing of when your opponent's cards get negated in terms of for their monsters, especially when they do a lot of chain stacking, chain blocking. Chalice can kind of just ignore it and just target the thing directly, which is why it's really good. And as for the extra deck, we cut a bunch of stuff. There's no Appaloosa. There's none of that stuff anymore. We're going straight into this particular lineup. I would recommend getting a Link Haribo as well. And if you have a Link Haribo, you can also obtain that through one of the other sets available in the store directly. You don't even have to unlock it. It's just there in one of the mini sets. And that's kind of the more budget-friendly one. And I also play a Fucho in here because if I do eat a Droll or anything along those lines, or even a Maxi, I can just slow down and just put this one up. And if they try to hit it, I still won't die. And as long as the turn can come back to me, most of the aggro decks that like to push a lot of that can't build boards, this is where you come back and punish them really, really hard. And this is the budget variant. All right, let's load into the replay here. This is a replay where a Maxi challenge was issued. And this is me not going first. So there was 2 options here. Either you open with Maxi or you open with a Forbidden Droplet. It seems like the Droplet is in hand. The Herald of Orange is not really live. Seeing a Petting Ancestor, I thought it was Medulce, but then I saw the Analyzer. Analyzer started to reveal cards. This is Adamantipator, but there was a key card that was just revealed from there. That was the Sekka's Light. Sekka's Light, what does it mean? For those of you guys who are new, it means that there's no spell cards or trap cards in the main deck, except for Sekka's Light, so it's kind of like playing with 3 Pot of Greeds. I can't do anything. He's going to set up his Block Dragon because Block Dragon's not banned in Master Duel. He links them off. Unfortunately, he couldn't go into Hulky Vibrax because neither of those monsters were tuners, so he decided to go into an IP Masquerena, summon out the Block Dragon, now get rid of his own Block Dragon for a Nightmare Cerberus because it's Earth. And Block Dragon now goes off, gets to add the Researcher, the Gigantes, and the Seeker. So he's gotten level 8 total, summons out the Gigantes, banish, summon, now summon out the Researcher because it's a rock monster. Now he's going to go into Excavation. So far as dismissed, no, it hits a Doki Doki. The Gigantes can't add that, can't summon that, and so he summons out the Doki Doki. And with those 3 monsters, a Link 4 has been summoned onto the field. 3 bottom arrows, 1 on the top, that's an Appaloosa, making him feel very safe against me. But we already know that's going to end poorly for him. And the Seeker hits I believe a Guardian? And he got rid of his own Guardian. Synchro Summon into a Reptile. I guess he wants to extend his combo further because he already built the first negation. Reveals O-Lion, a Maxi, Supplier. He hit the Supplier and a Researcher. But I think the Supplier is coming down and that's going to help him add a Kawakimaru Guardian. Now a further Synchro Summon for a level 8. We have a Borreload Sabbath Dragon. That's going to equip, I believe, the Cerberus and pass this turn. So there's 2 negates here. Well, technically more than 2 negates. Against Drytron, that's actually pretty deadly. If I didn't have the Droplet, I would have to burn 3 effects just to turn this one monster off. But I did have the Droplet, so I'm going to start with it because all Drytron monsters, they can activate from the graveyard by shooting stuff on the field or hand. That's why Drytrons are kind of really, well, not kind of, but extremely versatile when it comes to recovery. So he issues me a Maxi challenge at this point. So Maxi plus 2 negate at the time. You know what? That's actually not too bad of a board. And I decide to accept the Maxi challenge. I go into a Ben 10 by using my Alpha. Now we go into Zeta, getting the Drytron Meteonis. That's the ritual spell. Ben 10 into Ben 10 once again. Now we're getting business going into Mu Beta. Mu Beta dumps a Delta because we already have Gamma. And that's going to dump more. So basically, I've just been holding back. Now this Ben 10 activates again. Now the problem is this. I have already loaded my hand with 2 fairies, which means this Natasha can summon out, and I don't have to worry about any more hand traps. So now we perform the ritual summon of the Ben 10. And with Meteonis Drytron, we add it back to our hand because we're going to try to summon out the Natasha. So we activate the Gamma to get an additional body. And by triggering that Ben 10 activates. Now he chooses the Ash. So I'm guessing he just drew into the Ash Blossom. However, it's already too late. I didn't get to add a card, but I already have Natasha. So we're going to tribute off the weakened Delta, summon out the Natasha, because there's 2 of these. Wow, that was a quick Link summon. Now that I know that he already burned an Ash, at most he can only use maybe a Gamma if I break the board, maybe a Nibiru, and maybe a Ghost Ogre. So I have 2 negates now ready to build the board, and at this point he scooped because the Natasha got summoned out, and I stole the Borreload Savage. He already knows what's coming because I'm about to link it off into my own IP Masquerena, and then I was going to take the Appaloosa, just kind of keep on stealing everything. Alright, so that's the rundown of that replay. Alright, that's all I want to share with you guys about Drytrons. If you guys want to know more about them, if you want to break their board, Lava Golem is a really good choice. Forbidden Droplet is also really good because the Herald of Ultimateness cannot respond to it. And even Kaijus can also crack part of the board. The reason why these cards don't automatically win the whole thing is that if they did the proper Eva search with the Beatrice, then their hand is probably loaded with 2 Herald of Orange and 2 Fairies to boot with that. So that means there's still 2 negations. If there's additional set cards on top, then you are in for a pretty rough ride. If there's 3 Disruption on board, even with Forbidden Droplet, it won't really be enough. The other way to hand trap them is to use Maxi or Droll. If you have a pair of hand trap, it usually works better. So that's kind of the rundown of how to beat them, because Maxi, are they going to take the challenge? 90% of the time, most people won't because they don't know what to do with whatever they have in their hand. But also be very careful of Herald of Orange, because you could feel comfortable with your Maxi, but sometimes the orange plus a Call by the Grave is the 2 cards that just rips everything apart. Now, if you guys want to build this deck, it requires 450 super rare crafting points and 750 crafting points for all the ultra rares. That's also inclusive of the Maxis and a lot of the staples that's part of other decks as well. So it's a minor investment that's pretty much half as much if you already have all the stuff, because most of it's actually coming from the extra deck, and extra deck stuff is pretty generic and totally worth investing into with your crafting points. So that's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys want to see perhaps maybe the future list of all of these lists revealed, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, ding the notification bell. Thank you guys for watching. It is right now 3:40 a.m. and this is Tombox. Well, signing out.